talked about in PowerPoint. Log on to your VLE page, and the first thing to do is turn editing on. If you turn editing on, you go to term 2, that's our current term. And because I want to add the lesson in term 2, so I have to go to term 2. Okay, so this is how my page is. Let me just dock all of this so that the page can give us a wider view. Okay, so here I'll come to term 2, scroll to the bottom of term 2, and because I want to add this lesson to term 2, I'll add it where I want it to be. That means that I simply come here under term 2 and then I click add an activity or resource. Yeah, what we want to use here is a lesson, so I click on the lesson and then I add. So adding a lesson, I need to give the lesson a title, so I'll say lesson on rocks and rock cycle. Okay, your lesson needs to have a clear description and rock cycle. So you give your lesson a description, you put a name rather, and then you put a description. This lesson is about rocks. It should take you about 20 minutes to go through it and take a few questions to check for understanding. Now, if you're going to record the answers or the scores for these questions, you should let them know. The scores in this lesson shall be recorded. Okay, so you need to let your students know. Sometimes you could just do practice questions. Okay, try to make sure lesson descriptions don't exceed 2 lines. Okay, appearance, you want the progress bar to show, so it shows a percentage of coverage of your work. You do not want to display menu. If you like, you can display the menu like on the right side. I'll show you when we get to that part of it. Availability, do you want to set a time limit? Well, not necessarily, because it's a lesson. You want students to be able to come back to it every now and then. You want students to be able to review the lesson again and again. Yes, sure. If they try a question and they don't get it, do you want them to be able to try the question again? Well, maybe yes, maybe no. Sometimes for graded activities, you could say no. Or you could say, well, attempt it twice. If they try it twice and they don't get it, well, then that is it. Okay, so, and then grade. Whatever the number of questions I've put in, I want the VLE to convert it to 10 for me. So what I will be getting will be over 10. Grade to pass if you want. You could add any practice lesson, not necessarily retakes, maybe if you want. If you don't understand anything, just click on the question mark sign right in front of it, and then it will tell you what that means, like this. It means if enabled, the students can attempt the lesson more than once. Well, I want my students to be able to attempt this lesson more than once. It's a lesson, so they can always go over it again and again. Those are the basic things. If you want to restrict access, well, we'll be talking about that in some other videos. Activity completion, we'll also talk about this in some other videos. So save and display. Now I've set the basic foundation for my lesson. Like we discussed already, you need to have a plan for your lesson, a roadmap. If you look at my banners here, I already have this document on rocks open. I'll be basically taking a lot of my materials from this website, and then I have it opened already. I'll be needing this URL for this video, so I have it opened already. I also need this video, so I have it open already. So I have this video opened already. In case I need something, maybe I may be taking something. Okay, yeah, sure. I'm taking questions from here. Okay, I'm taking questions from here, and then I'll be needing these images, this one and this one. It's loading. Okay, so I'll need this image, and then I would also need this image. So let's see how we're going to work about them. Usually, if you have everything that your lesson will take, it should take less than 15 minutes to prepare a lesson. But if you don't have them, you begin to search for resources every here and there. Okay, so let's quickly get started. The first thing I want to add is a content page, and let me just make a reference to my roadmap. As you see from this material, we already said that for me, the first thing I want to do is my objective, and then the next thing is what are rocks. So the first thing I'm adding is a page which says lesson objectives. So students try to access this lesson. The first thing they see will be the lesson objectives. So at the end of this lesson, I should have typed that already, so I can just copy and paste. Okay, at the end of this lesson, you should be, see, so this is going to take me time. You should be able to, 1, list the types of rocks. 2, you should be able to identify each type of rocks, each type rather of rock, each type of rock. And number 3, you should be able to classify given samples of rocks. I also expect that you're able to explain the process of weathering and state the types of weathering. Okay, let's say these are my 4 objectives. You may want to make that larger, so you could always click on this and say medium. If you say large, this is what it will give you. But it's fine for your work, for your text to be large on your pages, so that students are not squinting on the screens to see what you've typed. You could also color the objective there, so that can be good enough. At least it draws attention. Okay, so that's my page, and then I'm done with that page. I ordinarily can just save this page. Okay, but again, I could put a content jump to say if I have this text showing at the bottom of the page, maybe it is simply next page, and if they click on the text, what should they do? You should take them to the next page. We'll see how the other jumps, these are the jumps I talked about, so we'll see how they work. So at least I have my objectives. I want to add another page, so I'll come back here and then say add a content page. So I'm adding a content page. This time I want to talk about rocks. I want to say what is a rock. So I'll just open this. What is a rock? I'll copy this, and for the purpose of demonstration, so I'll go here and I'll paste that here. Okay, so remember the heading is what is a rock. So I have this text here, I've highlighted, and then I want to increase the font size. So this is the font size. I don't want things modeling up, so I could always manually format and create spaces between paragraphs. Okay, so again, I don't want my pages to be looking boring and be full of just text, so I may want to add images. So if I copy this image, let's see if that will work. Direct copying of the image, if this will work. So if I take this and then I go here and I say paste here, Ctrl V, can we see that? So this is it, and I have this. You can double click on this if you want to increase the size or decrease the size. So I double clicked on this, and then this is it. I may want to make this 550 for example, and see what happens. So it got larger. So I say save image. So look at it, so it's larger. Okay, let's see if there's another image on this page that will be useful for me. Remember, I'm dealing with what rocks, so I'm not done, so I'll take this. If I do not want my page to be so long such that students will have to scroll what are rocks, I may create another page underneath. So, and I think I feel comfortable creating a second page on what is a rock. So again, I'll say next page. That would show on the page, and then under it just says go to next page. Okay, so next page, again, I'm still going to add another content page because I'm still talking about rocks. So add a content page. So with my content page, I'll paste the rest of the things I copied. Uniformity is very important, so I'm still doing it with what is a rock. For uniformity's sake, I'll highlight this and do the same thing, medium, like I did for the first page. Okay. So I have this. Let me dock this so that we can have a wider view. Alright. This looks modeled up. So I need to find a point to break this, so I can break here. Sandstone is a great example. Okay, that appears like it can work as a paragraph, and this also appears like it can work as a paragraph. Again, because I don't want this to be boring, I can attach the same image here if I want, but if I have other images I could use, I can bring them there. So let me just copy image and paste for the purpose of demonstration. Okay, I could expand this again like I did the other time. 550, it could be 600, it could be just whatever you think would work for your page. Okay, so now I have this. It's large enough on my page. Now I'm done with this, and I can simply say next page, and if they click on next page, what should it take them? Where should it take them to? It should take them to next page. So this description is going to show like something like this at the bottom of the page. It's just going to have next page. Now this jump says if they click on this description, where should it take them to? It's going to take them to what this guy describes. I could actually say it should take them to previous page, to the end of the lesson. It will remain on this page, or should take them to lesson objectives. It could be anything. Okay, so I'm just simply going to say next page. So already I have 3 pages because I have my materials handy. Okay, the next thing I want to do is another content page according to my lesson plan. Remember, according to my lesson plan, types of rocks. So I'm going to go back there and do types of rocks, and then I'll take it one after the other from igneous rocks to sedimentary rocks to metamorphic rocks. So here I'm doing types of rocks. 1 minute. Okay, types of rocks. So let me take types of rocks from here, and the first type is igneous rock. So I'm going to take that, take all of the text, Control C. You'll notice that this time I copied even the image, right? And so everything is right here. I can also highlight again and increase the fonts. Okay, and still create my space between paragraphs. Okay, so your formatting is important because you do not want your page to look very funny and ridiculous, okay, or modeled up as the case may be. So you do this and you format. This is my header, so I can call attention to it. I can make that heading large, so and then my page will look beautiful. Again, my jump will be next page. Jump can be a little more complex depending on what you want. You could have all your descriptions at the bottom there showing page names. Okay, so let's say I'm done with igneous rocks, and the next one is sedimentary rocks. So I'm going to add another page for sedimentary rocks. So I will say sedimentary rocks. Am I not typing anything? Okay, sedimentary rocks. Okay, so let's go and get sedimentary rocks. So I do this, I copy all of this and then paste it here. So sedimentary rocks, I can increase this if I want to 600 also, and save. And then like we said, make everything medium large, and the heading, make that heading large. Okay, so let's have this space, let's have this space for the image. And well, all of this I'm just showing because most times we need image to make our pages look beautiful and to drive home points. Okay, so you do not want your images and your paragraphs to be overlapping rather. Your pages may not look very good. So my next jump will be next page. I like to do the next page. I like to do a question page so that we can move on. Next page. Okay, so this is next page. So already I have 1, 2 lesson objective. The next page the child goes to is what is a rock, and then what is a rock continues, types of rocks, and then sedimentary rocks. I like to add igneous rocks to this so that it's clear. So I'll edit from here and then I'll say types of rocks, and I'm starting with igneous rocks. Okay, so if I've done a page and I don't think all is well with the page, all I need to do is click on the wheel to update the page. Okay, I could preview the page right away. So preview, this is what this page would look like. What is a rock? And then it goes on to say, and the image is there and so on. So this is the jump I was talking about. This is the description. Whatever you type into the description is what's going to show on this page. You could have like 4 different things showing the jumps. So the jump is, if I click this, where does it go to? What did I choose? I chose next page. So if I click this, it's going to take me to the next page. So this is the next page. What is a rock continues. And then if I go to the next page again, types of rocks, remember? Okay, so types of rocks. So it brings me here to types of rocks. You see the beauty of putting paragraphs so that your page isn't looking muddled up. Okay, I think I should have done a paragraph here and another one between the image and the last paragraph. So that's preview. Let me go back to editing so that I can continue. Now I want to add a question page. To add a question page, again I simply do at this time. Remember I said in my plan, but after sedimentary rocks I will add a question page. That's it. 3 questions to check understanding. So I'll quickly go back to my work and then I add a question page. So to add a question page, just say question. So I need to choose if I want a multi-choice question, a matching question, an essay question, or a short answer question where they will type in 1 word answer. Okay, for now let's say I want to do a multi-choice question. So I click multi-choice and then I add question. Again, my questions are ready, so I'm just going to come here and copy this question. Which one of the following is not one of the types of rocks? So I take this question and then I'm here, I'll paste it here. I could just simply say question 1. If you like, you could say review question 1. Could be anything. Okay, so I'll do this and then medium. The options shouldn't be in the page contents. That means I'm going to take the options A to D away from this page content. So option A, sedimentary. I'll take that. That's the first answer. The second answer is lava. I'll take that answer. I'll put it here. Answer 2. And the third answer is metamorphic. I'll take that, and then I'll bring a third answer here. And the last answer, igneous. I'll take igneous, and then I'll bring it down here to answer 4. So remember, because I've put my 4 answers, I should delete this. Okay. So now I haven't said which is the wrong answer or which is the correct answer. Sedimentary is a type of rock, so I'm just going to leave that. The score is 0. Lava, this is the correct answer to this question. The question says which is not a type of rock. Lava is not a type of rock. Metamorphic is, so the score is 0. Igneous is, so the score is also 0. Now you would notice that there are jumps here also. So if a child chooses sedimentary, the answer is wrong. What will happen? Stay on this page. You can't proceed because that's not the right answer. If the child chooses lava, then this child is correct. Then the child can move to the next page because that's the correct answer. But if you say metamorphic, you stay on this page. And if you say igneous, you stay on this page because igneous is a type of rock. Okay, so for the correct answer, the jump should go to the next page. For the wrong answers, the jump should stay on the same page. But if you do not want students to have a second try for any of the answer, you should just go to the next page. Okay, I'm leaving them to be able to stay on this page because I want them to have a second try. Alright, so sometimes you could have 3-4 answers in your multiple choice. For an example, you say which of these is an example of a noun, and then you have goats, and then you have Adebola, and then you have Lagos. All 3 are examples of noun. So you can say multiple answer and say that all 3 answers are correct. How do you say an answer is correct? When you put a score to it. If you leave it at 0, then it's wrong. If you put a score to it, that means the answer is correct. So this is how to add a question page. Remember, I said I'm going to add 3 questions for a quick review. So that's 1 question page, and then I'll quickly add a second question page. My second question page, maybe I want matching question. So let's see how the matching question would be like. Again, I'll take my matching question from my question page. Okay, sedimentary rocks. When mountains are formed, they are rugged in nature, but blah 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 blah. I could just take some things from here and mix them. Okay, if I have this description of sedimentary, I could take that and put it here. Okay, before that, I would say review question 2 and match the following descriptions with the right words. Okay, so to do this, correct response, wrong response, what should be my response? Before that, the correct answer. Okay, so that's the description. It's called dash. The correct answer is sedimentation, so I can put dash to replace that. Called ... Okay, so this is the correct answer, sedimentation. What if it were igneous? What would I have there? Okay, so granite and that are examples of dash rock. Let's add this. Okay, for matching question, granite and dash are examples of dash rocks. So I put ... The correct answer is igneous. Okay, so that's matching. Let me add one more and then we move on. Let's take examples of sedimentary rocks. I could actually use image. I could take this image and say the image, just put it there and say this is sedimentary. Let's take sedimentation. So I could add a question from here, and it says the image below shows an example of dash, and say the answer is sedimentation. Let's just save at this. Okay, so I have 2 question pages. So you keep adding question pages that way, and so when I get to this part of it, I'm done with my 3rd question. I move on to the next thing, which is metamorphic rock. Okay, let's just move on. So I'm going to skip some pages. I'll move to the last thing, which is rock cycle. So again, I add a content page, rock cycle. So I have rock cycle, and I need to do an image to show rock cycle. Remember, I had images opened here, so I have this. Let's see what happens here if I copy image and I come here to paste the image. That is it, rock cycle. So I can simply say the image or the diagram below shows the rock cycle. You should remember, this is a lesson, so I talk like I'm talking to the student directly. You should study, or you should take notes of the definitions in the diagram. Okay, so I have that. I have the rock cycle showing largely on the page. Okay, and then I can have text after it, just at the bottom here. Again, jump, next page, move where to the next page. So, and then I save. So this rock cycle, let's preview this very quickly and see how it appears. So, and that's the rock cycle diagram. This font isn't large enough, so it's not uniform with the others. I should edit this page. Alright, if you have such things, I think you should edit the page. Finally, to edit this page, I could create a last page of questions, I could create a last page of summary of the lesson, and so on. So this is how to set up a lesson. I haven't mentioned, let's look at one more thing. Let's look at one more aspect of this. Let's preview from here. Now the jumps. I should be able to use many more jumps on this page. For an example, I could say, if I want right on the page, you should be able to quickly see what is rocks, what is a rock directly. You can put that description and then say what is a rock. So the description will be on the page. If they click on what is a rock, it takes them to the page what is a rock. I could have another one, types of rocks, and this description will take them to where? To types of rocks. So if you've created many more pages, they are going to appear when you choose types of rock. Then one more thing, review question. Feedback is important. So if I click on review question, let's edit this again. If a child is correct, what response do I want? I can say something like, yippee, that is correct. Please click on next to proceed. You can do thumbs up, you can say correct, but try to be positive as much as possible. You cannot say wrong answer, try again later. That's still okay, but sometimes it just sounds too common. Okay, too common. Yeah, you can say, oops, try again. I mean, it just works somehow. Okay, so that's feedback. You could add feedback response. If the answers are correct, what should the feedback be? Okay, so I'll move on from there. So let's preview our lesson overall. I'm going to switch my role to see what a student will see should this be a student taking this lesson. Oh, okay, so as a student, I don't have permission to manage lesson activity. All right, I have to return to my normal role first, so, because I'm on management page for a lesson. Okay, so now this is lesson on rocks and rock cycle. I want to start from the first page, and this is it. So as a student, what do I say? Let's switch role. Okay, so this is completion that we're talking about, and then this is the jump. Okay, so at the end of this lesson, the student has already seen the objectives, and then you go to the next page. This is the menu, what we talked about the other time. So sometimes if you have the menu, you do not need the jumps. So if you want to say menu should be on, remember in the setting that we had before, I'll take you back there shortly. In the settings that we had before, you can actually allow menu, in which case you do not need jumps. But if you don't want less menu, you can actually do jumps. So this is our lesson, and the child reads this and then goes next page and then studies this again and then goes next page. Okay, and then it does this and goes next page and then does sedimentary rocks and then meets a set of questions, and he has to take this. Okay, which of the following is, and then he takes his answer and then say it takes igneous. What does it say? So no feedback, but the response, default response, is that's the wrong answer. Would you like to try again? Yes, I would like to try again. So this time I choose the right answer. I say lava and then I submit, and it tells me correct, and then takes me to the next question. And so I answered this. Let's just answer it anyhow. Sedimentation. Let's say, okay, let's get this correctly, and let's choose something else for this. Let's choose sedimentation again. Submit. You have one attempt remaining. Would you want to attempt this again? No, I just want to go on to the next question. So it's my option. Okay, but the teacher says you must retake because you have to pass this to move on. Okay, so that's how to set your questions. I'll quickly go back shortly to show us the preview. So let's return to my normal role first. So let's edit this lesson. I want to edit the settings. Okay, so we talked about the flow control the other time. Students can review, that's yes. Maximum number of attempts, 2. That's why if you get a question wrong, you have a second attempt. Okay, and then the grade is going to be over 10. Common module settings, well, not necessarily, we didn't use this at all. Let's look at availability and appearance. Progress bar, yes. Progress bar was there, it says 25%, 50%, 75%. Display menu, so the lesson menu was somewhere around there on the left of the page. With the lesson menu, like I said, sometimes you really don't need a jump anymore. Okay, so I'm just going to save and display because we've talked about this already. So this is how the lesson activity will appear on my page. So let me return to term 2 and see how that looks on my page. So if I take term 2 and that is it, term 2, and this is it, lesson on rocks. If this isn't in week 5, let's say this lesson is supposed to be in week 4 and this is week midterm break, or it's supposed to be in midterm break, for example, I'm just going to click on the 4-point arrow of lesson and drag it up there to wherever I want it to be. So you see, I've moved it up there. I can move it further. Okay, I can just click on it, a single click, and say I want it to be under term 2. Term 2 starts from here. Okay, term 2 under midterm break. Okay, so that's a midterm break, and then it's there. Right, so this is how to create lesson and how to use your lesson on your page. So far we've looked at how to create lessons. Let's go back to our objectives. How to create pages, how to create question pages, how to use jumps to links, and then finally let's look at how to link activities to other activities on your page. Now I have this lesson. After this lesson, I have created a quiz. For instance, let's take an example. Let's say this is the quiz, and if you haven't looked at this lesson on rocks, I do not want you to be able to do this activity. So what would I do? For this activity, I'm just going to edit it. I'm just going to edit that quiz, go to administration, say edit settings, and under edit settings, just scroll down and restrict access. You can say add restriction, activity completion. So it says require students to complete another activity. So I'm going to click on this and then I'll choose the activity. It requires that you must have looked at lesson on rocks and rock cycle. If you haven't looked at lesson on rocks and rock cycle, you won't be able to take that quiz. If I have that, just say marked complete. If there is grade, like I've set a pass grade, I could just say must be complete with pass grade. So if you have not passed the activity on if you've not passed the lesson on rocks and rock cycle, you won't be able to take this other quiz. So you could actually set your lessons in that a child has to go through lesson 1 before going to lesson 2. My first lesson is in nouns, and the next one is in figures of speech, and if you have to go through nouns first before you go to figures of speech, I could actually ask that is done. Okay, so I'm just going to take that off, save and display. So folks, if you have any question, please do send it to the VLE lead in your section, and if you necessarily have to talk to me about it, let's get talking and get this done. Thank you for your time. Bye.